Hey guys, welcome back. Working on the Valiant today, gonna be installing the catch can. And what I'm gonna do is get rid of the PCV valve and the blower over, or the breather over here. And I'm gonna install a catch can. That way, if the turbo causes any blow by, which more than likely will, then it won't let the crankcase build up excessive pressure. It'll just go right in the catch can. So, catch can came from maxspeedingrods.com. Link down in the description. Also, promo code TAP, T-A-P, will get you 20% off. Here is the part number for the catch can. It has a dual inlet, so let's go ahead and open it up, see what we got. All right, see if I can figure out this taping situation we have. Yep, I was right. All right, a lot of nice foam, keep it protected. Never seen foam like that in a box. All right, it's our little catch can. So we'll have our inlets, the air filter, and a petcock. It's nice and it's smaller than I was thinking, so that's good. Nice good bit of hose. Dash 10. There's our drain, already Teflon taped. All of our fittings, we have a couple of 90s, a couple of 45s, and some straight fittings. Here's the company, Max Speed Rods, and it's maxspeedrods.com. Last up, this should be our air filter. Yep, very nice. Packaged nice, looks like a good unit. There we go, all of our fittings, air filter, hose, catch can, and our petcock. Gonna go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and take the valve covers off and probably take the PCV valve off. I'm gonna make a plate to where I can weld on a bung that I already purchased because I knew there wasn't one in the kit. So I'll have a bung probably up here with a 90 running it to the other side of the car, and same here. Switch the valve cover around, put it right here, and maybe have a catch can over here somewhere if I can get it to reach. If I have enough hose, it's probably where I'm gonna go, probably right over here. So the plan is, I'm gonna pull the valve covers off and weld on those bungs, but I'm gonna use the 90s on the valve covers. This one will run the hose underneath the air hat, and then this one here will be mounted about like that, and then have both of them come into the core support, where I will have the straight fittings on the catch can. And there's already some threads in the core support, so it'll mount right there on those threads that are already in the core support, and have plenty of hose to do that. So let's get started. Now before I get started, I'm not working on the electrical system, but it's always a good idea to disconnect the battery anyways. All right, I went ahead and took out my breather and my grommet. And here, I need to make this smaller, so I have a washer that's gonna be welded on here. And then that hole will be enlarged for that to mount to it. So I actually think I'm gonna go ahead and drill this, weld this from the back, just so that there's a nice clean look to it from the front. And then that'll also give me a little bit of something to hang on to while I'm trying to weld this. So I can set that on there and just hold that on there so it won't move on me until I get it tacked on there. Here I have my washer. I used a unibit to drill that out, and now I'm just gonna weld this on from the back like that. That way there's a nice finish from the front. You can't see the weld, but it'll still be sealed and attached. And then I went ahead with my little grinder here, little air grinder, clean this surface off so I can weld this to it. And I'm using this that's almost the same size because there's this is rolled under so that it can hold this grommet in, and that roll is a little bit thicker than the rest of the valve cover, so that'll give me a good surface to weld on there. And when it goes together, look just like that. Number one. Number two. So the hard part of the project's done, valve covers. I went ahead and washed them with some water and some super clean, just a house sponge, and then blew them all out with my air gun. I taped off the threads and then put some engine black paint around it. The paint's now dry, so about ready to install them. Well, am ready to install them. And I made one mistake while doing this. I didn't cover these threads up while welding, and there's a little bit of slag on them, but I screwed the fittings down on there and they fit fine. So just a mistake that I made that note that you don't make. But we'll go ahead and put these back on, and then we can move on to the catch can install. I went ahead and put the valve covers on, torqued them down, and if you remember right, the oil fill cap was here, and then on this side we had the PCV valve going to the back of the FiTech, and on this side was the breather. And I wanted to have both of my vents coming out of the front of the engine so that I could run the hose over here, and to the catch can I'm going to mount to the radiator support. So I just went ahead and swapped the valve covers from side to side, and really happy the way it came out. Welds came out pretty good considering I hadn't welded in a few months. And I am going to mount the catch can up here on the core support. There's a hole right here that's threaded, and I've already found a bolt out of my bolt bin, so it's going to bolt up right here. And then on this side I'll just drill a hole and put a nut and a bolt through it with a nut. And then once that's installed, I can go ahead and put my straight fittings on here, my 90s on those two. We can measure our hoses, cut our hoses, and install our ends. Make sure she's straight. Tighten her down, and like I said, I'm just going to drill a hole right there, and I'll get a nut and bolt and put on that one. I have all my fittings on here, and this one could be bent down a little bit more. I might end up changing that later on, but it'll be fine for now because it needs to be tilted down another 45 degrees maybe. But I'm gonna go ahead and measure out my hose. Try that right there. All right, I have some painter's tape on there. I'll cut it right in the middle. I wrapped it about 4 or 5 times, and I have these cutters that I got from, they're cable cutters, got from Harbor Freight, and had to modify them a little bit to make them cut better. But seems to work pretty good. The key is to cut it really fast. Don't do it slow. There you go. Pretty good cut. Got a little background noise, neighbor mowing the grass, but next up we have here the hose. Got to put this hose end on. First piece that goes on this one, then you put the other piece on. I have found, so when you take the tape off, this stuff frays up. There's like no way around it. And sometimes these go on easy, and sometimes they don't. What I like to do, get a drill with the size socket that fits this. That way you can put a little bit of pressure and a little spin, and it just goes right on. See it step down right there? That's installed. Now we get this piece, and that'll screw down in there. So I do have this in the vise, but when you put it in the vise, just put it firm. You don't have to put it tight. You don't want to tear it up. And I'm gonna put some tape around this, that way I can put this in the vise, tighten this down with a wrench. If you use regular tools, you're supposed to use aluminum on this, but if you don't have aluminum wrenches, just be careful because you'll scratch it. I usually end up scratching it. There's my straight end, and the reason I'm using the vise, I don't have 2 1 1/16 wrenches, so that way it works. I'll go ahead and put my 90 on real quick, same way. Both ends are on. Let's go ahead and do a test fit, see how close we got it. Hopefully we're good. I think that looks pretty good. So when this one's done right here, just zip tie them together, it'll be good to go. Looks good. Let's fit it up. See what happens. Hopefully I measured right. Come on, baby. Be one and done. Alright, so not what I wanted. I wanted this to run right next to this one. So I need to trim it up. Okay. Version 2 looks a lot better. I took 35 millimeters off, and once I get a zip tie right there to hold them together, I actually don't even need anything to hold them together, but looks good. Now I need to drill my hole down here, put me a bolt in there, put our filter on, tighten everything down, and we're done. I drilled a 1/4 inch hole, and I don't have a lock nut, so I'm just going to use a little bit of blue Loctite, 1/4 inch 20 bolt. Just need to tighten everything up now. Last thing to do is our little air filter. This thing is done. Get out of the way of the camera. Looks good. There you go. Catch can hooked up. Got our lines fitted in there. Welds looking good, painted. And I'm happy with it. I think it looks good. I might end up changing that fitting just so this thing doesn't rub the air filter or the air hat. If I can get just a bend down a little bit, cut it straight across, that would make me very happy. But I like the kit. Hooked the battery up, went ahead and plugged in the O2 sensor, and also put a nipple on that vacuum port where we had the PCV valve. So let's start it up, see how she goes. That's gonna do it for today. Just want to get the catch can installed. I'm real happy with it. Just want to change that bend maybe. But other than that, man, it looks good. I like the quality of it. Seems good. Me and David are gonna come out tomorrow, mess with some wiring. There's some things I want to change. I don't like the way we did it originally, so I'm gonna move some stuff around. Gonna get the MSD put in. And I need to figure out where I want to put it. I really don't want to put it in the engine bay. I don't want anything else in the engine bay. But we'll see. So yeah, that's gonna do it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. One last thing before I go. Check out maxspeedingrods.com. That's where I got this turbo and the catch can. Catch can was $75. So if you use promo code TAP, T-A-P, get you 20% off. Turbo was 150 bucks. So you can do the math. Check them out.